In the United States, there are currently almost 400,000 children in foster care in the United States. Most come from broken homes for many reasons, including drugs, finance, and mental illness. Since you start off without a functional household, the odds against you being successful are really great. Now, there have been many times in my life in which I had my mom to be a landing safe zone for me because I fell flat on my behind. Now, without that, I don't see how things could have went, any better. I don't know how my life would have turned out. Now, our guest tonight has defied all the odds of being a juvenile delinquent in foster homes and has grown up to be a productive adult as an independent provider. So that's our topic tonight. Stay tuned here on Thursday. Well, I'm sorry. This is a special edition of the Love and Pain Show. This is the Locker Room edition. So stay tuned. This is my father, Big Chuck. He taught me the pimp mentality from the crib, so I was never faithful in any relationship. Until one day, 6 years ago, I looked at all the broken hearts and pain that I caused and decided it was time to level up. So now I'm a happily married man who still doesn't stand for the trick mentality that is destroying our community. All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, like I said, welcome to the show. This is the Love and Pain Show, where we keep it 100% real, and we talk about real people. This ain't no Hollywood. We talk about real things in real life, and we appreciate y'all tuning in. And like I said before in an intro, we got a special guest tonight, and man, he got a deep story. So I want y'all to. This is Dwayne, my dog Dwayne that I've known since he's been a kid. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Dwayne? How you doing, bro?
Hey man, it's your world, man. I'm just passing through, baby.
Okay.
It's all good. Everything. Yeah.
Okay. So listen, we gonna like I said, I've been following, you on social media and everything, and I'm seeing things that have been playing out on social media. And we gonna get deep in that tonight. You know what I'm saying? So, but first of all, I want people to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up at and everything, man? Tell us about yourself.
Born and raised in Columbus. Grew up. I was born actually. The home I was taken to was on Midland Avenue, 110 to be exact, right there on the hilltop, west side. You know how we do it, baby. But anyway, right there. My stomping grounds was between Lechner and all the way down to Hague Avenue and Broad and Sullivan. So I know everything about that place, man. I grew up there in a nutshell, ended up in foster care. We're going to get into some details here in a minute, but ended up in foster care. But at first, let me say the juvenile detention centers first, because I was in and out of them first. Single mother, she had four. She was raising four of us on welfare. And she didn't have a whole lot of time to stand over top of us. So we got out and got into some stuff, man. And so I was in and out of them juvenile centers. And then my grandmother came and got me out, tried her best to straighten me out, man. But I wasn't that. Yeah, it didn't happen. And she did what she had to do. She had to put me back into let them take me and put me in the system, which she was trying to keep me from going to in the first place. Let's say 1990, between 1988 and 91, 1988 and 1991, I was in and out of all kinds of foster homes, group homes. Two of my boys that I'm gonna mention here that was in the group home with me, they got a story, but that's another story. So I was in these group homes and foster homes, and one day, man, I went AWOL from my last foster home, and they was like, look, I checked in at the Huckleberry House, and they said, hey man, we're gonna take you down to brother. He lives in Sugar Grove, Ohio. And out there, and that was out on Chicken Coop Road. I still laugh at the name of that road, but anyway, so they put me there, and then he ended up getting taken out and put into a juvenile facility, and I had to stay there. And I tried to go AWOL from there, but I couldn't, man. There was nowhere to go. There was no there was just all country roads and cornfields. So I turned back and I ain't even know, man. I just walked in the door, put my bags back up in my room, and just stayed there. But been there ever since, man. I went through, you know, school, started getting good grades, playing a little bit of sports, started feeling good, and the military got a hold of me, and then left the military, came out, worked at Nationwide Insurance Juvenile Detention Center because I was trying to, you know, get back to the juvies. Like, hey, don't be like me. And then eventually, I just went into the fire and EMS. It was between both fire departments that I worked at. I became a firefighter, EMT. I was a volunteer at one and part time at the other. And then from there, I decided to go into private and then started realizing, like, hey, I can do this myself. So I started doing it myself. So I own an ambulance company, and I'm going to start another one. And then, you know, here I am today.
Okay. So let me tell you, like I said, you've been in and out of different homes and things like that. And like I said, you was cutting up when you was younger. Let me ask you a question. Well, before I ask you this question anyway, Jerome Holiday says they have to go through the fire to be a sword. Love you, little bro. Okay. Now let me ask you a question.
Bro right there.
Right. Now you've never, where was your father during this time? Like, what do you know about this? And the reason why I asked you this is because, you know, as a young man, especially, when we have both of our parents, we know more about ourselves by studying our parents. You know, we understand more about ourselves. Like, you know, certain things that I do, I can trace back to like, damn, I do it just like my dad do it. Or if I do certain things this way, it's like how my mom does it. You know what I'm saying? So that helps me. That's almost, it completes who I am by me, you know, by me living with my parents and things like that, even though they were divorced. But I learned a lot about myself by studying my parents. Now, tell me about your father, because I've never really, you don't really mention too much about your father.
Nah, my father's passed back in 2016. Ooh, that's touchy, but you already know. Anyway, so he passed back in 2016. Prior to that, we had a relationship for about 22 years. We hooked up when I was 18. We got closer that way, but prior to that, he was just an absent father, and it's unfortunate, but he was a Vietnam vet that came home from Vietnam, and he went through some things. In fact, before he passed away, he was still seeking psychological treatment due to that. So he went through some, you know, probably what they call PTSD now, and so he got involved in drugs, drug sales. He's probably one of the biggest dope dealers on the hilltop at one point. You know what I'm saying? And he got busted at some point, and he negotiated some things with the, you know, the courts and corrections, not the corrections out of, but the courts, to where he could get a way less charge, and so he took that. He negotiated some things. I don't want to get into too many details about that because I don't know who's still living and who ain't. But he was gone, man. He took off to Florida for a while, and I didn't see him for years. I'm years upon years. Not, you know. So I just kind of threw in the towel as a kid, man. And all of a sudden, I'm going to graduate, and it's like my foster mother, who I love dearly, Suzanne Van Fossen. I'm going to put her name out there because that's my girl. She drove me to Kentucky to see him. I hadn't seen him in years, man. That was the first time I ever seen gray hair on him, man. It was weird to me, but I was 18 years old, graduate high school. And like I said, we had that relationship from there on, but up until then, it was just, I mean, cut and dry. It was, if I put all the time together that we had together, from me being a child all the way to, let's say, 18 years old, man, we talking just a couple of months. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if it's that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could put all the time together. If you put all them hours together, it might not even equal more than a month. You know what I'm saying? So he was just an absent father. So he wasn't there. He wasn't there like me. Like, I was on my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't play. You know what I mean? And they know it. I didn't tell you. But so he was just gone, man. He was just absent up until I was about 18, graduate high school. Just not there. So, didn't have no guidance. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. So since your father wasn't there, did you have any like positive, male role models that you kind of patterned yourself after, like to teach you things about life, being a young man? Did you have anybody like that in your life?
Nope. Not until
wow.
Well, one foster, I will say I went to a foster home, the one out in Sugar Grove. My Uncle Ronnie calls it chicken holler. But anyway, the one out in Sugar Grove, I had a foster dad out there that was pretty tough on me. But, as a foster child, without I mean, you think about it, man. When you leave home at 11 years old, I was 11 years old when I ran away. I ran away from 52 South Wheatland. I'll never forget it. You remember the old GC out on Broad Street? If you do, out by Georgesville Road. My buddy lived right behind there, man. I slept up against his fan, like the little AC unit, because it was warm. I stayed out all night. I was only 11 years old and did that. But anyway,
Wow.
I lost it. I was going to tell my story about that, but at that age, man, I left at 11 years old. So I was gone from 11 years old until, I graduated high school. I didn't graduate till I turned 19 right before I graduated. So take that time. That's 8 years of my life. And there's only 3 more added to that before I did it. If you think about it, from 0 to 11, that's only 3 more. So I spent almost half of my life in foster care, at that time. So, yeah, I mean, that's a long time to be in foster care, but to go from 11 years old to that, and there's so much more in between, it's crazy. It's crazy. I got so much more in between there that I can explain to you in that 8 years. But that father figure was my foster dad was the only thing. He was tough on us. But that was the only thing close to having a father figure at between all those years, 0 to 18.
Right.
I mean, no, I'm not saying, listen, my dad was around, you know what I'm saying? But even though it was 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 streets over, bruh, he still was absent. You know what I'm saying? I don't know whose fault that is, but all I'm saying, I can look back now as a man and say, well, you're the adult. You know what I'm saying? You were the adult. I can't speak for. I will never say nothing bad about him, man. I loved him. You know what I'm saying? And I still do, and I miss him. But that factor is there. He was just absent. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, I know then, your mom was Caucasian and your father was Black, right? So, I mean, by her having 4 young Black kids, right? I mean, do you think that played a part in like her not being able to handle y'all? Because it's hard enough for Black women to handle Black kids. So I could just imagine, saying a white lady having 4 Black kids without the comment, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, did you guys, because look, for me, when I got in like middle school around the 8th grade, I stopped being scared of my mom. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't out there, wilding out on the streets, but I wasn't scared of her no more. So I can just imagine, like, I mean, how did you feel like growing up with a Caucasian mother? Like, did that factor into her, like, you guys not being really scared to do wrong? I mean, like, explain that dynamic.
Us not being afraid to do wrong was mainly because, now I'm gonna say this, she made sure that we was proud to be brown, brother. I promise you that. That's one thing I get at woman, boy. The stuff she went through defending us, it's unimaginable. And because racists love soft targets. So her raising 4 Black kids, she was always on defense. And she always made us pride ourselves that no matter what happens, you make sure you be proud of your Black and brown skin, no matter what, no matter how light you are, like JJ and Rome and everybody, you know what I'm saying? Or be as dark as me or my dad. Be proud of that shit. I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't mean that. Be proud of it. You know what I'm saying? So we grew up that way, proud. Now, so as for her raising 4 Black kids, that ain't easy. I don't get. Trust me, I still love my peeps, man. No matter what. Her raising us, I don't think she was prepared for it. I really don't. It would, and for me, looking back, I don't think she knew how to, because I ain't gonna say that. I would be wrong for saying that. It was just like JJ, his hair was always nappy, you know what I'm saying? David's hair looking all wild, mine, you know what I mean? Like when you dealing with kinky hair, you got to know how to take care of it. You know what I'm saying? Carla was able, I don't know how Carla hooked her. She hooked it up, man. She always knew how to hook her hair up, but her, I think it did play a role in how we were raised, her being white and us kids being Black. I don't know exactly what was going through her mind at the time, but I think a lot of times it was because we were so. It was like a perpetual cycle. Let me explain it real quick. So when your kids getting on your nerves, you want them outside. You know, you got 4 kids, they all in the house arguing and beating up on each other, and then go outside, go play. And we like, oh, we know this, we know the hilltop like the back of our hand. You know what I'm saying? So we just, all right, let's roll. So that's what we do. We go outside and we start getting in trouble. But now she's got to deal with that part of it too, being a single mother, and especially a white mother, because we could go just about anywhere and do anything, and she wouldn't know because she just wanted us outside. We just had to be home by the time the street lights was on. So by the time we get home, if the police wasn't bringing us home, it's probably a breath of fresh air for her. But yeah, I mean, I think that definitely raising 4 black kids as a white lady is single now. I'm saying single.
Right.
That is, it's hard, man. It would be hard, especially ones that you putting outside. Like we have all the stuff we got now, games and social media and all that. You send them outside, bro. We're gonna be getting into some stuff, and that's what we did.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. And okay, so yeah, so okay, so as you translated like into adulthood and everything, like so was it a point in your life to where because you're a responsible guy now, and like I said, really, man, you all the odds were against you for being like somebody that was locked up or doing, you know what I'm saying, based on your upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow you transitioned to a responsible man who's, you know what I'm saying, who the breadwinner of your family and things like that. So when did it actually click to you to where, you know, hey, I'm not going to start getting in trouble anymore and I'm going to, you know, start doing right? Like, how did you make that transition from juvenile delinquent into a responsible adult?
Um, at one point in time, I remember being locked up. Now this was after, no, this was my last time at Grandma Ivory's, my grandma Ivory's house. Uh, they woke her up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she had to come down to the police department because we stole a car. I'm afraid to mention anybody's name on here because I don't know if I can get sued or what. But I'm just gonna say the Wheatland boys. Okay, me and a couple Wheatland boys and my brother stole a car, and I got away. We wrecked the car on Belvedere, and I got away. The other ones got caught. So I went back to Grandma Ivory's house. I was like just playing cool, trying to act like nothing was wrong. Grandpa Ivory was like, "What's wrong with you?" It's like, I'm nothing. It's cool. He's like, go ahead and get your stuff ready so you can get ready for bed. And I was like, all right, can I run back over to my mom's house real fast? He's like, yeah. He's like, you got 10, or he said 15, 20 minutes, something like it, some short time. So I ran back over there, man. And I seen my mom sitting on the porch, and it was a cruiser. There was a police cruiser, Columbus Police, right out of the front, man. And my brother sitting in the car, I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, they got him. And so I look, and just as me and my mom turned her head, we locked eyes. She was like, come here. I was like, oh, man. She grabbed me by my shirt, like up here, though, and walked me out there to the cruiser and was like, yeah, he was with him. So I sat in that juvenile detention center, man, after that for right. I was out there for about, I think 60 days, something like that. And I knew something bad was happening because they called grandma down there. And the bad part was I didn't even apologize to her when they said, you got to say sir now, because I was in handcuffs. And I just bowed my head, and that was it. I didn't know what to say. And Lisa, it was Grandma and Lisa, and they carted me out of there, man. And after they got me back there, man, that's when it hit me, man. I was like, I can't do this no more. I can't do it. I'm not made for jail. I'm not made for prison. I'm not made to be locked up. I can't do it. And somehow, some way, they got me. I got out after like 30 to 60 days. I don't remember exactly how many, but they took me back to grandma's and they had me on house arrest. And then lo and behold, here come Franklin County Children's Services. They rolled right in the front door shortly after and was like, yeah. I was like, I gotta go with them. Grandma was like, yeah, you gotta go with them. And they took me to the group home. And that's where it all started, right there. At that, from going from Grandma Ivory's to that group home. That was the beginning of the transition, because I mean, I still gotten a bunch of stuff in between, but I tried to stay away from getting the police involved. You know what I'm saying? So did I later? Yeah, I still got into stuff, man. Fights and stuff like that. But man, I wasn't doing none of I wasn't out stealing cars like we was doing, man. You name it, man. we was doing all kinds of stuff, man, breaking in garages. I was never the type to break in a house. I was always afraid to do that. I let them other knuckleheads do that, man. That wasn't me. I was too afraid. So I'd always sit and watch and let them do it. And I was just as guilty, but I would never go in. I was always a chicken, you know. So for that stuff, but stealing bikes, man, I ain't gonna say some of the other stuff, man. You might see me get cuffed alive, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was the transition though, right there. That was the beginning of it. That wasn't the actual transition. Actually happened between that point and probably about age of 14. So I'd say between 12 and 14 is when I started to straighten up. So they took me to a group home called Whittier Group Home. All the group homes were named after the streets that they were on. For instance, you had Neal Avenue Group Home. It was a boys' group home. It was on Neal Avenue. Whittier Group Home was on Whittier Avenue, 740 to be exact. You had Westerville. It was a girls' group home, but it was called Westerville Group Home. It was on Westerville Road. But anyway, that's what they was doing at the time. Now remember, orphanages are group homes. This is the politically correct way today to say orphanage. It's a group home, but it's really an orphanage. And that's what it was, man. I linked up there with a couple of my dudes that they got stories too. That's Mark Turner and Lyndon Brown. Love you, brothers. We still talk. You know, we got in a little bit of trouble in the group home together. There at the group home, okay. And there they called me Napoleon, like I was the one that led these dudes astray to go run away from the group home when I wasn't. Now I was an AWOLer, trust me. I was definitely that dude. But when I got into that group home, I started getting good grades at school at Barrett Middle School. And that was part of the transition. It was actually feeling good to get them good grades. You know what I'm saying? It was like, man, because Uncle Greg would always, every day when I go off to school, he'd be like, hey, man, go learn something today, buddy. Have a good day at school, you know? And I'd be like, okay, but I wasn't. You know, that was at Westmore Middle. I wasn't, man. I was like, all right, love you, Uncle Greg. Peace out. But that went in this ear, out the other. But now at this point at the middle school, started getting good grades while I was in the group home, and it kind of good, you know what I'm saying? So we would go to school, they would wake us up, feed us, and then they, you know, we get dressed and everything and head to school. And then we came home, we had a study hour. So if we had any homework, we had to do it that hour. We didn't have a choice. And I hated sitting there being bored doing nothing. So I was like, let's get this homework done. And it actually worked. That was our study hour. We do that study hour, and then we'd eat, and then we go on about our day. And they had, you know, that group home had a point system. So if we screwed up, we had to go through a point system to say, hey, you've been a bad boy, so you got 25 points, so you don't get to go home this weekend. And I would go to Grandma Ivory. She would still let me come on the weekends. And I screwed that up still. I told you I wasn't done with that full transition. So I would screw up sometimes and not get to go to Grandma Ivory's on the weekend, or Grandma Ivory would just have something going on, and I wouldn't be able to go. But for the most part, I was able to get there. And so from there, the group home, after that's pretty much how they ran the whole thing. I got sick of being there because I felt like there was no end. Nobody was telling me anything. Nobody was giving me any information to do anything, or not. There would just seem like there was no insight. The only thing cool that we had going on there for us that I felt like was there was a dude named Monty Crockett, hella cool. Used to play for the Buffalo Bills. He volunteered his time to come spend time with us on the weekends and take us out to do stuff. So if I didn't get to go to Grandma Ivory's, it was a blessing because Monty was the man. That was the only thing we had to look forward to if we couldn't go home on pass because we was being bad or we didn't have, you know, anywhere to go. So Monty would take us, man. He'd take us play baseball. He'd take us to the Salesian Boys Club, Urban Crest swimming pool, wherever we wanted to go, man. He was like, let's go. He would take us and, you know, monitor us, of course. But so as time went by, like I said, I was just getting more and more and more frustrated because it just seemed like I almost felt like I was in prison, but it wasn't, or in jail, but it was just like a jail with a little bit more benefit. So I went AWOL, man. And the whole thing was I didn't go AWOL deliberately. And I was good at going AWOL. Trust me. I ran away from a lot of them foster homes because you go in, they introduce you to they'll introduce you, like Children's Services will bring you in with a caseworker and they'll say, hey, this is your foster mom, this is your foster dad, you know, and they're all nice to you, like, hey, how you doing? It's nice to meet you. And then you say, okay, yeah, I think I don't like them. As soon as the caseworker take off, bruh, flip mode. Now, let me explain the rules to you. That's how it's gonna be. Almost start getting with. Yeah, man. Man, there was some of them, man. I would go in there and sit down and be like, "Yep, I'm gonna go AWOL from you in about 20 minutes. Can I get something to eat?" You know what I'm saying? I let them feed me and I jet. I don't even remember half the name, not even more than half of them, because I just go in there, get something to eat, and jet, run back to the Huckleberry house in about 3 or 4 days. You know what I'm saying? But the group home AWOL was. We was just gonna sneak out. That was the whole thing. With me, Mark, this little dude named Brian, we was all gonna just sneak out. We was just gonna sneak out and we was gonna sneak back in. But after we snuck out, we was like, I remember thinking, how we gonna get back in there? That dude gonna know. He gonna catch us, make much noise. I was like, man, we're going over to the Huckleberry house. Man, we marched all the way on foot from Whittier Avenue all the way out to 7th Ave and like 7th Avenue and 4th, 7th and 4th on the north end just to get to the Huckleberry house. That took us hours. We didn't get over there till like 1 o'clock in the morning. And then that's when they was like, come on, Napoleon, we gotta get you out of here. Like, I'm the leader of the whole thing. Like, it wasn't even my idea to sneak out. I was just like, let's get it, because I can do it. You know what I'm saying? And but I had to lead us somewhere. I had to get us off the street. You know what I mean? I didn't want to sneak back in. But yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry I went through all that. Go ahead, man. What's your next question, bro?
No, that's cool. Hey, that's cool. That that gives us the insight of how it went, in some of those group homes and everything. I mean, because a lot, we don't know, because like, I worked for the Ashburn Center, and we dealt with people that were in group homes, but we didn't really, know what was going on inside of it and all that. And I knew, like, going to foster homes, I know that's temporary. So it's like, why invest, in love with these parents, and it's not going to last that long. So I get that. Okay, let's okay, we're gonna pivot now from your adult. We're gonna go right into your adulthood now. Okay, and before that, I want everybody listening to like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that. If you have any ideas, or if you want to comment on this show, please feel free to do so. If you have any ideas of what you think we should talk about in future episodes, please leave a comment or whatever, and I would definitely do that, because we want input from the listeners. Okay, now going to your adulthood. Now, like I said, you was raised in an unstable environment, as you said, you know what I'm saying, and you really didn't have any type of model to follow as far as relationships were concerned, because you didn't grow up in a functional household. Now, when you got to adulthood, how did like your relationships go? I know, like right now, like I said, I've seen on your social media post that you're going through some things. I guess, which you and your wife are going through some things right now. When you got with her, like, how did you guys meet? Let's just go. Let's start there. Let's see. I want to follow the whole journey of you guys' relationship. How did
man,
you guys
wow.
Come on now, we gotta get deep now.
So,
come on, man.
I gotta watch how deep I get, though, man. All right, so check this out.
Okay.
I ended up out in this foster home on Chicken Coop Road, and I played basketball.
Okay.
Down at the school, and I played the sports. I ran track, blah blah blah. I ain't gonna tell you I played football, because all it took was one hit, bro, and it was over with. So anyway, I played ball down there, and I remember going down one day and practicing, just me and my one of my other teammates on the court. We was balling around down there, and so they pulled up this. Can I say names on here? Is that all right?
I mean, you say first name.
Yeah. So, oh no, it's all good. So she wasn't my woman at the time. Her and a friend of mine pulled up. Well, they was both. She started talking to me, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" But I was more interested in her friend at the time, like trying to hook up with her friend. I ain't gonna say hook up with a friend, but talk to her. You know what I'm saying? So I did meet her. I do remember that's the first time I met her. The second time, I swear I seen her as a cheerleader on the opposite team. We was playing ball a few times, but I couldn't remember. But I ended up getting her number, right? And my foster mom was like, okay, you can't call her because it's long distance. I'm like, for real? Are you serious? I can't call her.
Where was she from?
Broke my heart, man. Couldn't. I don't know. I mean, I think Amanda, born in Lancaster, but I think at the time, well, she was living in Amanda, because I know that's who we used to play in sports.
And that was a long distance phone call?
Yeah, at the time, because Lancaster was 614, Amanda was 740. So you had to be in the 740 or 614. You call back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So it ran up the bill a little bit. And she was like, "Nah, we ain't having it." So I remember terminating my phone calls with her. It was like, all right, got to move on. So I seen her, and it's funny because I was about 15 or 16 at the time. Like 8 years later, she I might have been a little bit older than that. Anyway, she 8 to 10 years later, man, I seen her at a club that I was in, man. And at the time I was working out, looking good, man. I had to represent the Skinny Brothers, you know what I'm saying, with a little, build on me. I was working at a fitness gym. And she, first thing, as soon as I walk in the door, I see her and she smiles and she says something to me. And I was like, oh man, I ain't seen her in years. So I went over and started talking to her. And there it was, boy, that fire started burning right there on the spot, man. It was just like that. Boom.
Okay.
But that's how we met, man. I ain't gonna say that's how we met because we knew each other way back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how if you want to say how we met, that's how we met. So for the relationship. So that's it. That's how we met.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then, so from that point on, how long did it take from then and until the point where you got married? Like, what was that like? What was that journey like? Were you guys together a long time, or how did that happen?
We was together about 2.5 years. About 2.5 years before we got married. And I'm gonna tell you, man, she was a good woman to me. I'm not gonna say nothing bad on here about her. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say I will tell you my pain and my flaws. But a friend of mine that I talked to recently, another female, she's a good woman too, but she told me, don't go in anything bad. Let her tell her story. You don't say you don't tell her side of the story. You let her tell her story. So I'm gonna tell you. I now I forgot. What was your question again? I'm sorry.
I was just wondering. And like, hey, look, I respect it, bro. You could be if you don't want to go into certain areas, that's fine. I just appreciate you just being, candid and just telling us, your story. That's fine. I said, we ain't even got to go deep into what something she did or anything like that. No, but I still want to get to. Go ahead.
Nope, you go. I'm sorry.
Oh no, like I said, I still want to get to just how the relationship kind of played out, and and why you think that it's not working or it's not going to work or whatever the case may be. So I just want to just delve into that a little bit. Just develop whatever information you want, and then we can just we can just go like that. But so during these 2.5 years, like I said, you guys got together. She was a real good woman, and like, man, and it's crazy because how old were you when you got married? Because a lot of young men, especially even myself, right? I was actually kind of, I got married when I was like 29, but I was still kind of scared to get married at the time. You know what I'm saying? Because I seen so much dirt that people were doing, and it affected me as far as wanting to commit to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So how did you not coming from a home that was a married household, what made you actually decide to take that next step and to get into that relationship?
She made me take that next step. She didn't force me, but I'll tell you what she did. When I first started, when I first started kicking it with her, in that first 2.5 years before we got married, she looked at me a certain way. You know what I'm saying? I could see it, I could feel it. She looked at me like no other woman ever had. You know what I'm saying? I could see it in her eyes. I ain't gonna say she thought the world of me, but I almost felt like she thought the world of me. And she was very, very, very good with my children. So good with my kids. I would have been stupid at the time. I'd never seen a mother so good to her children that was half of that, at least half of my decision in marrying her, at least half, if not more, was due to that. She took very good care of her babies. She loved them. And to this day, I'm sure she probably still does. So I can't expound on that, but that was one of the factors. The fact that I felt like she believed in me, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody else would. That plays huge. You grow up in foster care, nobody's believing in you. You grow up and when you in the schools, nobody's believing in you. Like you said earlier, the odds are stacked against you as a foster child. I don't think people understand how much the odds are stacked against you. But this woman believed in me, bro. She believed in me, and I knew it, and I could feel it. You know what I'm saying? So that played a role in my wanting to marry her. The way she looked at me, the way she believed in me, and the way she took care of my children was major. And there's, I'll never change it because I'm going through some pain, and we're gonna talk about that. But I don't care. You can take that. You can take it all you want. However, I'm not going to say anything bad because that woman believed in me. I think she loved me at the time. I think she fell in love with me quick. I was her world, and I could see it, and I knew it. It was like, here it is. Let's go. She's doing the best. She's a phenomenal mother. What more can you ask for, man? And that white lady raising black kids, you know, when you get on that level, everybody likes to say, oh, well, you know, people want to talk about this race mix and stuff. And I just simply say, don't be mad at somebody else for being happy with who they're happy with. Let them be happy. And that's where I'm at with my pain right now. I'm not mad at her for what's going on. You be happy. That's your business. Leave me alone. But we're gonna get to that in a second. But yeah, just don't be mad at people, man, for them being happy, man. It's that simple. You know, like I said, the question was, you know, you want to know how I got to that point. I got to that point because she was showing me love that nobody else ever had. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't nobody cooking for me like that. I mean, the girl could cook too. And there was
qualities. Okay.
Yeah, and there's just a lot, man. There was a lot of good there. I could go on, but you know, that's what made. And I got married to her at the age of 27, I think. Yeah, met her at 24, or not met her, but started kicking it with her at 24, and married at 27. But I wanted to wait a while too, bro. I wasn't rushing into it because I don't know what argument we gonna have. She gonna call up her peeps to come over. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I didn't know where she get her daddy involved, or she gonna call the police on me to get an argument and lie on me or something. You know, you gotta kind of get to know folks, man, before you jump right into getting married. You know what I'm saying? So 24 is when I got married, and in that two and a half years, she proved to me that it's going to be worth it. And I can't say that it's not now. It's shitty. I'm sorry again. It's bad, but you know, she helped make me the man that I am today. She's always been a good mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I going to do now? You know what I'm saying? Like, my pain is immense, and we're going to talk about it whenever you're ready. But I'm going to let you go on to your next question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, bro.
Okay. No, we're about to get into it. First of all, somebody got a comment. They said, White and Blurbo as a couple, your mom was so hood being white. That's funny. Or so your mom was, you know,
my mom was it. She was like, I felt like my mom was like a white woman trapped in a black woman's body, man. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like a black woman's body with a black soul, you know. She was wild, man. She was crazy.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. So, okay. Now listen, I mean, this is a thing, man, that just goes on, man, like in society. I mean, because over 50% of marriages is ending divorce. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into, you know, to your pain and everything, because I know, so tell me, like, what went wrong, man? Let's get into that. Like, where do you think the marriage started to pivot from being a happily married couple to, you know, to the pain or whatever that, you know, that you're going through?
I got to be real careful here. I think a lot of it has to do with. Yeah, well, a lot of it. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with me. I can't, you know, I can't just point all the fingers and say, oh, it's her fault. You know, you did this, you did that. Listen, I've had some childhood issues, man, that, you know, that led up into my adult life that got me in a little bit of trouble. Of course, I was in the military. And we'll talk about that in a short, but for the most part, I had to move because the phone was breaking up, so sorry about that. But a lot of it had to do with me. I just didn't have that father figure around to tell me how to respond to things or what not to say or when to say it or to raise me like I do my boys. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, listen, as they're coming up, I'm like, you can't do this, you can't do that. Don't treat a woman like this. Don't treat a woman like that. Make sure you raise your kids, because if you don't come to me thinking I'm gonna be okay with it. You're gonna be a good father to your children no matter what, whether you end up in divorce or whether you you end up with a baby's mama, none of that. So for me, a lot of it, I got a short fuse, you know what I'm saying? Um, Sometimes my anger gets to the point where I raise my voice really strong and really hard, um, to try to take control of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Um, I've recently tried to get that out of the picture. In the relationship, I've tried to work on my flaws. Really tried to work on my flaws, but it's hard for me to work on my flaws, um, and do the things that I was doing, starting the businesses, helping other people start their businesses, pay all the bills around the house. She didn't have to do that. I didn't ask her to do that. I took care of all that stuff. I took care of all the bills. You know what I'm saying? I made sure she had something to drive. You know what I'm saying? I made sure that I was that dude, you know what I'm saying, to take care of everything. And I think over time it just took its toll on me, to be honest. But I didn't know how, because I just coming up, man, without that kind of guidance or knowledge or experience with people who are experienced, or that father figure or whatever, or that family, didn't come up in that family environment. It was like I almost didn't know how to approach it. You know what I'm saying? And so I think where I'm at now, this pain that I'm dealing with, it's a lot of it's my fault, and I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem admitting that. It's not all my fault. But I'm not going to put her story out there, because that's her story to tell. You know what I'm saying? I've always just
Right.
told her and
Right.
getting her business started, things like that. Your success is my success, and vice versa. Whatever I do reflects on you. Whatever you do reflects on me. So right now, I'm going to take the responsibility of saying that, yeah, I had a lot in that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to say nothing bad about her. I don't want to do that. I did that and I immediately regretted it, and I removed everything I said, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? I can't help anything else that happened after that. And I'm not going to. I'm not responding.
Yeah.
All I know is the pain that I'm going through right now. It's all right. It's all right. It's for me to deal with, and I'm going to get through it. It's that type of pain that, like, it's not, the heartache is gone. That's gone. I'm okay. But now it's that I'm gonna lay down and go to sleep. But it starts playing in your head. You know what I'm saying? You know, you start playing things over and over. You start picking up details that you didn't see before. Like, man, I should have caught that. I seen it. I would have saw it coming, and I did. I did see it coming. Here's the thing about marriage, though, and relationships. We all see it. We all do two things. We deny it's happening, and we don't want to believe it's happening. And when you put those combination of things together, you setting yourself up for failure. And that's exactly what I did. I did this to myself.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what she was doing. I could have took care of this issue many, 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 many years ago. I could have got rid of it a long time ago, and have been through the heartache right now, probably on Facebook clowning somewhere out there in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? But I chose to stay. And so it's just as much my problem as hers. Because again, denial and not
Right.
believing it. You know what I'm saying? So um I don't say not believing it. Let me take that back. I'm gonna say not wanting to believe it. I don't think so. I don't think she would
Yeah.
do. Yeah, you know it, but you're like, nah, I'm gonna let this slide and let that slide. Yeah, it'll come and get you every time.
Mm. Right. Now, like I said, and that's a great point that you're making, man, because like I said, people think that, as a man, that we're made of iron and things don't affect us and things like that. I want y'all to know that, I mean, listen, we're all human. We go through, men, we go through pain just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? We have to deal with the pain and still function, but things still hurt us and bother us as we, regardless of what our age is, it can hit you. You might think that you too strong for the situation, and man, hey, you'll get a reality check real quick. Now, so do you think then that okay, that maybe that instead of you being able to take care of the situation, that you maybe failed the relationship by not dealing with it head on, that maybe you became an enabler in the situation and let it get a lot further than what it could? Could you have done anything to have saved your relationship?
I
And
don't
what's your
think so.
status right now anyway? Are you, yeah, tell me, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there was anything that was going to save the relationship. You know, the one thing about a woman is she knows once she's got her mind made up, it's over with. I think that if some things that if I could have ended things, 2012, how about 12 years ago, if I could have straightened it up then, like I tried to, I think that yeah, today would be better. But the things that I wanted um wanted to stop just didn't stop. And fast forward to 2022 or 23, I think 23. Those things, we're looking at least 12 years. That's a very conservative estimate. It was beyond the point of no return then. I just didn't want to believe it. Now looking back at the time, of course you don't want to believe it. And I stayed in denial. I covered it up. To try to make it look like nothing was wrong. Everything was smooth. And it wasn't, because in my mind, I knew what was going on. And I just didn't give it enough effort back then. I don't think I gave it enough effort. I think I kind of ruled with an iron fist on it and thought that was going to be the end of it. I even made a threat back then that I was going to divorce then if anything occurred, what I'm saying, thereafter. So that wasn't the way to do it. I know now, but hindsight's 2020. It doesn't matter. I'm beyond the point of no return. I'm gonna if there was anything that I could, if there was a time that I was going to be able to save it, it would have been back then in 2012, not now.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So man, okay. So basically, so everything, so it's over then, basically, right? Or is there any chance for it to
Yeah.
come back?
No chance. No chance. No chance. Now I've got, the things that I'm dealing with here and here, those things that's a healing process that I've got to go through. So I just made my theme song, Healing Energy, 10 Toes Down. Anyway, those are things that I got to go through right now. Now we're talking about me again, because I'll let her, she's told her story. I don't care who believes it or not. I don't care whether anybody likes me or not at this point. That's her story, is for her to tell. So for me, my mind and my heart is what I'm trying to heal. You know what I'm saying? I got a good friend out there that's trying to help me do that. But also I have my foster mother. Now I want to run back to that real quick. My foster mother, Suzanne Van Fossen, her daughter, I'm not going to say their last names, but Nikki and her son, Jonathan. There's 3 of them. I lived there. There was 4 of us living there. They've been my biggest, greatest help in this whole thing. I can't even explain it, man. I even had an issue with them, while I was married to my wife. And I didn't talk to them for like a year to 12 months or a year to 14 months or something like that. But lo and behold, that's love, man. They've been a big help in helping me heal. The door's still open. I can go there and go to bed if I want. I can eat. I got somebody to hang out with, that make me feel better, and that's one of the foster homes that I was in for a very long time. That was the best Christmas I'd had since I'd been 6, 7 years old, was that foster home there, the first time in a long time. I can't even begin to tell you the things that she should. At one point in time, I was living there. She wasn't even getting paid for me to live there, but I was living there. In fact, out of my one relationship before I started kicking it with my wife again. I stayed there for 2 years rent free. She didn't charge me a single dollar of rent to let me live there until I got back on my feet, and I finally did. And so I can't even begin to say like how much I love them and thank them for that. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead with your next question, bro.
Oh no, that's cool. Yeah, hey man, like I said, hey, they held you down, man. You got to give them the props for that, man.
Yeah.
And also, let's go. So now things, have ended or whatever. You're not going back. Now, how do we move forward now? Because I know, like, when I normally, when I've had past relationships, I normally weren't that emotionally invested in the past. I've kind of learned that from my dad. He didn't never want me to put myself in a position that a woman could even hurt me at all. Like that was just me seeing him. He was always telling me he didn't never want me to be hurt by a woman. Like that's kind of his philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a ladies' man or whatever. But now going forward, you know what I'm saying? You were emotionally invested and you are in pain. How are we moving forward now? Like, are you out on the dating scene? Are you going to take a break? Like, where are you at right now, man, with everything like going forward?
I'm just out clowning. I ain't on no dating scene. Let me tell you something, man. When you with a woman for 23 years, and I don't care who sees this, it's the truth. And that's what I'm about. I'm gonna tell it 100. When you've been with a woman for 23 years and all of a sudden you sitting at home alone when you ain't never been alone. I've never been out of all zero to where I'm at now. I've been in all these different places living with people, and all of a sudden your last entity that was there is gone and you living at home. Bro, I ain't thinking about nothing. I'm not thinking about sex. I ain't thinking about dating. I ain't thinking about none of that. I'm thinking about my mind and my heart getting healing. So am I going out and doing crazy stuff? I don't want no other woman touching me. Don't touch me. You ain't my wife. You know what I'm saying? 23 years. I don't want to I gotta break this. I gotta heal, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I ain't saying that you can't hug a girl or, snuggle up, you know what I'm saying? But to just jump out of 23 years with one person and go into another, they don't know you. They don't know how to touch you. They don't know how to caress you. They don't know what that person knows about you that have been with you for 23 years. And when you combine that with the fact that your heart is broke, your mind ain't right, and then all you want to do is heal. That's all I want to do. I ain't thinking about sex, man. And by the time who knows what's gonna happen? That's another story. I ain't about that, man. I'm thinking about just trying to get my heart and mind to heal. There's people out there, they on the social media running back and telling her stuff and showing her stuff. I post some pictures. Yeah, of course I'm gonna post some pictures. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm so bad that I'm under a rock somewhere in a shell. No, I'm letting you know I'm going to heal, and I don't care who helps me heal. My ex-baby's mama, a friend of mine that you don't like, I don't care who it is. They're reaching out to help me heal because you won't. So guess what? Get mad. Do whatever you want to do. I'm done. I'm moving forward. I'm just going to do it my way and not the way you do things. So for me, inside my heart, it's I would say shattered in 1,000 pieces, like Ralph Tresvant from New Edition. That's true. That's how it feels. That's really how it feels. But every time I get that one phone call from that friend of mine, she knows who she is. When I get that one phone call from a friend of mine, she say, "Hey, or hey, what's up?" Puts another little piece of my heart back together. You know what I'm saying? When I pull up at my foster mom's house and I step out and I picture everything I should do as a child out there or as a young teenager, it puts a little piece of my heart back together. If it takes me 6 months, it takes me 6 months. If it takes me 6 weeks, I'm cool with it. I'm not worried about the time. I'm just worried about putting my heart and put my heart together. Excuse me, and get my mind right. To go back to what I was saying, I don't want to be intimate with another woman, right? I just don't. I gotta heal, man. I have to. It's too much. And I don't ever want to go through this ever again. So it wouldn't matter if she came back tomorrow. I was like, "Hey, I want you back." I'm not doing this again. And the next time, I've learned
Damn.
so
Do you
much from
think
that
you
relationship.
you
And
think
go ahead.
do you think you will ever get married again? I mean, or are you just like
I
right
doubt it.
now, how you feeling about that going forward? Really?
I doubt.
Damn.
I doubt it. I'm
Wow.
because this is so immense, and it's been so hard to deal with that I don't ever want to go through it again. And let me add to that. Let me tell you something. When
Damn.
somebody can walk on you, when somebody can walk out on you after 23, when you already got trust issues from growing up in foster care, who you gonna trust now? I'm 48, bro.
Mm.
If I sit back here and act like, oh, I'm gonna get married tomorrow, or I'm gonna get not tomorrow, but I'm gonna get married in a few years when I get better. No, because in the back of my mind, I'm gonna be saying, this is year 7, this is year 9, this is year 13, 26, not even 26. Where we at? 23. So I'm at all these years, and I'm counting now, waiting. When you gonna walk out? You know what I'm saying? It
Damn.
just hit me with a huge trust issue. Because after 23 years, when somebody goes, bro, who can you trust to stay with you no matter? I would have never walked out.
Mm.
I would have never walked out. I
Right.
wouldn't care how bad it got. And some people know how bad it got. Some people know her story. Some people know her side of the story. Some people don't, but it didn't matter. I wouldn't have cared, man. I was here. It wouldn't have mattered. That woman probably could have clocked me upside the head with something, and I would have told them I fell. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't have
Right.
mattered. And when you got that much love for somebody, and then they turn around and just roll over an argument, and and
Mm.
and 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 telling folks you got to walk on eggshells, you know, I'd rather walk on eggshells and be with my wife than to leave her. You know what I'm saying? But that's
Yeah.
just me, man.
Right.
I
Damn.
got trust issues
Man,
now.
bro. Like, right. I feel you, man. Like I said, I mean, like I said, I know you didn't grow up in, like I said, a functional household, but you became a functional adult, man, and you fought to the end, and you, actually, I mean, because most marriages don't last no more than like 5 years, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the average marriage, four or
Yeah,
5 years in divorce. For you to last 23
yeah,
years growing up in a broken household in foster care, I mean, that says a lot about yourself, man. That you are a strong individual and you're very loyal. And and like I said, you didn't do anything wrong in the situation, man. You know what I'm saying? If you did your best, then don't feel guilty about it. You know what I'm saying? Just try to move on and try to find whatever your happiness is, man. Because man, life, man,
yeah,
it's full of peaks and valleys, man. You know, man. And one thing like about me, I think I've never been scared to try things. You know what I'm saying? As far as like new things, if things happen, I'm not, what I'm saying, like as far as me like failing or anything like that. And I know, like I said, I've never been with nobody 23 years, so I can't speak on, your pain and all that and the things that you're going through, but that would mess me up too, man. You know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so we're almost at the end of the time. Do you have any last comments or statements about anything that you're going through that maybe you can pass on to someone else who may be going through
Uh,
the, similar situation?
if you're going through any similar situation, man, only thing I can tell you, if you're getting divorced or you breaking up out of a long relationship, or not a long one, but your heart is broken, the best thing I can do is tell you is to hang in there. I can't tell you what I went through those first 2 weeks, because like the courts might get me for that. But hang in there, give it time. The one thing I did, I just remember saying, don't do it. Fight another day. Fight that day every day until you get better. Because when I look back after this whole thing, makes me cringe thinking that even came to mind. So I'm gonna say, if you are going through some heartache and some pain from a relationship, fight every single day like it's your last one. That's real.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, good point. Okay, all right. Before we get out of here, I want to just go through the last comment.
Mm.
Thomas Lytle says that maybe you should seek some counseling. You know what I'm saying? You seem like you're in a lot of
Oh
pain. Maybe,
yeah,
just to have somebody that you can talk to consistently, and it don't have to be professional. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because like I said,
It
man,
is.
we ain't made of steel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm definitely gonna get that,
So,
man.
just
That's coming,
yeah,
man.
to
I
have
just
somebody to talk to, man. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. So, yeah, man. But yep. But hey, that's our time today. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on here, man, and just man, just sharing your story with everybody, man. We got to do a follow up though, man. Like, well, I want to see how you doing, maybe in a couple months or something like that, just to do a follow up on you, man, and just to see how everything is going with you transitioning out of this long term relationship that you're in, man. And like I said,
yeah,
thanks everybody for joining in today. And like I said, right here, man, you got a good man. And like I said, now I'm gonna let you finish. But if anybody out there, I mean, bro, if you get on the market, man, you are still a handsome dude. You got stuff going for yourself. It ain't gonna be hard for you to find somebody, dog. So saying
yeah.
like, hey, I know people are gonna be blowing me up. Like, who is that? So man, you move on, do whatever you gotta do to find your happiness. Go ahead, man. What was you gonna say?
I ain't got it like that. If I'm that lucky, where they gonna blow you up and be like, "Who's that?" Hey, man, you know how to get a hold of me. I ain't shy. I'll talk to anybody. But listen, I just want to say, Suzanne Van Fossen, Debbie and Jeff Sherrick, Tina Marie Matheny Foltz, and Monty Crockett, man. Shout out, much love to them people, man, for everything in my life, man. This right here. It's just a coping mechanism until I get my counseling started. I've only been doing this for 2 weeks, so it's all good. Don't think of going back to that. I'm just coping right now. This is my way of doing it. I'm getting through the best way I can. So I appreciate you on the show. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, man. And one more comment. Somebody, Amber Flint said, proud of your vulnerability, brother. And like I said, man, thank you again, man, for coming on the show. And hey, everybody, like I said. Hey, so listen, until next time, like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. We're trying to grow the channel. We're gonna be doing a lot of things here. So like I said, if y'all know anybody or whatever that want to come on the show and maybe share their story, let me know. These are the types of things that we do, because sometimes we gotta talk it out because it's therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we're gonna get up out of here. That's our time. Thank y'all for tuning in again. Peace.